extraordinary session of the Venezuelan National Assembly, its members debated new strategies for defending national sovereignty. In Argentina, the Chamber of Deputies rejected Javier Milei's veto of the emergency disability law with 172 votes in favor. The Palestinian Ministry of Health denounces the killing of at least 60 civilian victims of a new Israeli offensive during the last 24 hours as part of the genocide against the Gaza Strip. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. During an extraordinary session of the Venezuelan National Assembly, its members debated new strategies for defending national sovereignty. In response to the United States' latest imperialist aggressions against Caracas, members of the Venezuelan parliament debated a new agreement to strengthen the country's defense. The debate aims to reaffirm Venezuela's territorial integrity and autonomy in the face of external threats or interference. Its main objective is to bolster Venezuelan state institutions and ensure national security. In this regard, Congresswoman Tania Diaz reiterated her institutional support for President Nicolás Maduro and the Venezuelan people. She also assured them that this new attack by imperialism is a worn-out narrative.
We stand today, all of Venezuela, a firm Venezuela and a united Venezuela in the face of an escalation in the continuous aggression that the empire, that the global capitalist elites have waged against Venezuela. We are here today to denounce that everything that is currently being circulated by the international media, all the threats, blackmail, fake news, and fabricated narratives is nothing more than a recycled and failed narrative against Venezuela.
And Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro activated Tuesday the peace squadrons, or basic units of territorial organization, in 299 communal circuits in the city of Caracas. The Bolivarian head of state reiterated his instructions to regional and local leaders to implement the first and second projects that were chosen during the last public consultation held in the country to move forward the comprehensive development of Venezuelan communities. The president emphasized that the third transformation of the plan for the homeland is a strategic state priority with the activation of new peace squadrons. On the other hand, Maduro awarded the Order of Peace to officials of the Scientific, Penal, and Criminal Investigation Corps in recognition of their outstanding results in preserving citizens' security and fighting organized crime.
In perfect fusion.
Also in Venezuela, Caracas prepares to host the 6th biennial of the South under the slogan Peoples in Resistance, the Power of Diversity. This highly anticipated contemporary art event will open on October 3rd and will feature artists from countries such as Cuba, Mexico, Palestine, Iran, and Turkey, among others. A team of curators led by Raúl Chacón selected works covering various disciplines and themes. In this edition, the event venues will include the National Art Gallery and the Carlos Cruz Diaz Print and Design Museum, as well as public spaces to promote access to art. Ernesto Villegas, Minister of Culture, highlighted the importance of the biennial in strengthening cultural dialogue and promoting Venezuelan artistic production on the international stage. And the Timbalaya International Rumba Festival 2025 will come to Cuba under the slogan There is a Congo, Cara. In its 17th edition, the festival will pay tribute to the Congolese legacy in Cuban rumba, highlighting oral tradition, dance, and drums as essential elements of temporary cultural identity. The festival will include the symbolic planting of the Siguaraya tree, a sacred tree in Afro-Cuban traditions, which reinforces the link between culture and the environment. The program will take place from August 25th to the 31st in Havana, Artemisa, Mayabeque, Matanzas, Cienfuegos, and Villa Clara, and will feature concerts, dance classes, and community meetings. We now have a first break coming up. Remember, you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English. We'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Argentina, the Chamber of Deputies rejected Javier Milei's veto of the emergency disability law. With 172 votes in favor, 73 against, and 2 abstentions, the opposition managed to stop the president's veto to the emergency disability law. The session now continues to debate the president's veto to a pension increase and moratorium and emergency after the deadly floods in Bahia Blanca. Foreseeing the parliamentary defeat, the government announced earlier in the day that it is considering an increase in benefits for people with disabilities. In this context, leaders gathered again Wednesday in front of Argentina's Congress and deputies the final repeal of Javier Milei's vetoes to pension laws. The rally included trade unions, social organizations, pensioners, people with disabilities, and their families, who chanted slogans accusing the government of neglect and cruelty and rejecting the president's vetoes to the pensions laws. On the other hand, the Association of State Workers called for a 24-hour national strike as well as mobilizations in different parts of the country. And 2 years after the referendum on the Yasuni National Park, social and indigenous organizations in Ecuador are demanding that Daniel Noboa's government respect the people's will to defend biodiversity and leave the oil underground. The groups claim that the executive is disregarding the people's decision, with oil still being extracted from Block 43 in the region. It denounced the Noboa administration for violating the Constitutional Court's ruling, which ordered the orderly and progressive closure of the oil block within 1 year of the referendum results being announced. To this end, they are set to demonstrate in Quito on Wednesday, urging the authorities to address the matter in accordance with the Constitution. The Nicaraguan government plans to have built at least 150,000 houses by the end of 2025, including those constructed since 2007. The co-director of the Institute of Urban and Rural Housing, Gabriela Palacio, specified that the strategic goal was to complete more than 7,000 houses nationwide. More than 4,000 of these had been completed by July. Palacios also emphasized that they had exceeded 50% of the target in the first half of the year and expected to finish the year with over 7,690 houses. Since 2007, the government has promoted the construction of at least 148,170 homes and is on track to reach the target of 150,000, which will be a historic achievement for Nicaragua. And at least 27 people were killed and several more were injured when an armed group attacked a mosque in northern Nigeria. In the northern state of Katsina, an armed group stormed a mosque during dawn prayers and opened fire on worshippers in the remote community of Unguwan Manta. This massacre occurred amid escalating violence in northern Nigeria, where extremist groups and criminal gangs frequently attack villages and religious facilities. Rights organizations are therefore questioning the government's inability to control the situation. And to celebrate the 106th anniversary of its independence, Afghanistan held a military parade featuring both air and ground forces in Kabul. While units of the Honor Guard and Special Forces marched in front of the Monument to Freedom, helicopters and combat aircraft flew over the Defense Ministry headquarters. The flag of the Islamic Emirate was raised at the ceremony, which was attended by senior Afghan government officials. This day marks the anniversary of August 19, 1999, when Great Britain recognized Afghanistan's full independence following 3 consecutive wars. And Afghanistan authorities reported that at least 79 people died and 2 others were injured in a bus accident in the province of Herat in the west of the country. According to a government report, the bus was carrying Afghan migrants deported from Iran and was heading to the capital, Kabul, when it collided with a truck carrying fuel and a motorbike bursting in flames. Emergency services informed that at least 19 of the deceased were children. Iran and other countries in the region have increased the mass deportation of undocumented migrants, a practice that has been criticized by Afghanistan. We have a second break coming up. We invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. The final break, don't go away. Welcome back. The Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has officially approved the Israeli forces' plan for a large-scale incursion into the Gaza Strip with the aim of taking full control of the area. According to Katz, Operation Gideon's Chariots 2 aims to defeat the Palestinian resistance movement Hamas and secure the release of Israeli hostages. It is known that the plan involved mobilizing approximately 50,000 additional reservists to reinforce occupation troops in the region. The Israeli minister asserted that the operation will be carried out unless an agreement is reached to release all hostages as set out by Benjamin Netanyahu. The Palestinian Ministry of Health denounces the killing of at least 60 civilian victims of a new Israeli offensive during the last 24 hours as part of the genocide against the Gaza Strip. Israel moves towards its goal of dominating the enclave as the number of victims in the Gaza Strip increases. In a new attack, 343 people were injured while trying to get food. The health authority report confirms that bodies remain trapped under rubble and on the streets as a result of the occupation's blockade. Emergency services and civil defense teams are unable to do their job, while reporting the death of 5 people from starvation, including 2 children, bringing the total to more than 263 deaths from lack of food and malnutrition, 112 of which were children. And hundreds of ultra-Orthodox Jews protested against the recruitment of the occupation army in an area east of Tel Aviv. Protesters gathered in Bnei Brak and blocked the Givat Shumel intersection on the main road to protest against forced recruitment. Local police asked protesters to reopen the road, but they refused and were arrested by the authorities. Recruitment is taking place because the Israeli army is suffering from a shortage of soldiers. Most are experiencing psychological difficulties as a result of the Gaza Strip massacre. The governments of Japan and Turkey evaluate defense cooperation and the expansion of agreements for the benefit of regional security. According to diplomatic sources, the agenda outlines discussions between the defense ministers on enhancing collaboration in defense technology and equipment. The primary goal is to strengthen the ties between the Japanese self-defense forces and the Turkish armed forces. Nakatani's visit to Ankara is part of a broader regional tour that commenced on the 17th, with additional stops in Djibouti and Jordan. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko announced after meeting with his Iranian counterpart Masoud Pezeshkian that he is open to bilateral cooperation in all fields and strategic areas to strengthen their relations. The Belarusian leader announced the expansion of his relations with the Iranian government from cooperation in food supply to the technical and military sphere. Lukashenko also stated that they are committed to the well-being, growth and unity of their peoples and highlighted the friendly relations between Minsk and Tehran. The official visit to Iran is in response to an invitation from the Belarusian leader, and according to the agenda, both countries are expected to sign several cooperation agreements that had been delayed following the escalation against Iran's nuclear infrastructure. The Russian government has reported the destruction of several Ukrainian ammunition and weapons depots, along with other areas used by the Kiev regime to store military supplies. The Defense Ministry has stated that the army used precision-guided weapons and drones to attack ammunition depots, oil refineries, and workshops where long-range drones were being assembled. The ministry added that air defense systems had intercepted 3 air bombs, 117 drones, and a U.S.-made HIMARS projectile. The ministry declared the attack a success thanks to the cooperation of more than 10 drone operators. At least 21 people have died in severe rains affecting the state of Maharashtra in India. The authorities reported that the city of Mumbai recorded 300 millimeters of rainfall, causing disruption to the population. Elsewhere, train, airlines, and bus services were disrupted, and several schools were closed due to the rainfall. Meanwhile, local authorities reported that around 350 people had been rescued and taken to safety. And Spain is going through one of the worst environmental emergencies in its recent history, with large-scale forest fires, more than 382,000 hectares destroyed, a heat wave that left more than 1,100 dead and thousands evacuated. More details in the following report by Sergio Rodrigo.
Thermometers have not dropped below 40 degrees since the start of the most intense heat wave ever recorded in Spain, an unprecedented environmental crisis that has led to extreme temperatures and caused the death of more than 1,000 people.
Well, it's a lot. The sun is really strong here. So drink plenty of water and take precautions.
The sound of cicadas is the soundtrack in the Andalusian city of Córdoba, the epicenter of extreme temperatures. Here, tourists are the few who have dared to walk the streets this day in the harsh heat.
Well, in Colombia I'm from a town where it's very hot. So I'm used to it. And I've gotten used to walking in the shade. And with my umbrella.
Although temperatures are beginning to drop, Spain faces a summer that confirms scientific warnings about the Iberian Peninsula's vulnerability to climate change.
This means that regardless of the cause of the fires, it is evident, science tells us, common sense tells us, especially for farmers and ranchers, those who live in rural areas, that the climate is changing, that the climate emergency is worsening, that it is becoming more recurrent, more frequent, and has a greater impact, and that, therefore, in the face of fires, storms, and all the inclemencies of climate emergencies, there is only one response: institutional unity.
Fire is the great challenge. Spain continues to battle against the forest fires that are devastating its territory and have already burned more than 380,000 hectares, displaced more than 31,000 people, 4 deaths and dozens of injuries, an unprecedented crisis that is devastating the Iberian Peninsula.
Sergio Rodrigo y Lucía Muñoz, teleSUR, Andalucía, España.
Like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Join us on social media: Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. At teleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thanks for watching.